hunters out there that believe they already know how to hunt, and so they don't feel like they need to prepare for any kind of a guided hunt. The problem with that way of thinking is you're going to be hunting a different area than where you hunt, and it's obviously going to offer some different challenges. As someone who hunts for a living, I can tell you this: if I came to your neck of the woods to hunt whitetails or whatever, I would listen to and prepare for whatever you told me was important. So with that said, I'm going to go over a few things that are within your control and can be practiced. These same things are some of the main reasons some of the most experienced hunters go home empty-handed. My hope is that you check these things out, do your best to improve your skills in these areas, and in turn don't miss an opportunity once you get to either my camp or someone else's camp. If you're going on a guided hunt and would like to improve your odds by getting better in certain areas, one area that I've seen people have trouble in the past is what I call target acquisition, or seeing the game. This goes right along with being familiar with your rifle and your optics. Once again, I'm not going to go into great detail, and I only have life training, so you may want to do some research into drills and exercises that may work for you. You may also want to come up with something on your own, but make sure not to cheat yourself. Out in this country, distances are deceiving, and the terrain's going to be unfamiliar. And what happens is when you go and get into unfamiliar situations like that, it gets frustrating because you may have game in shooting range and you have trouble picking them up. That's why you gotta practice. That way you can see them with your scope, with your eye, with your binoculars. When you hunt with me and you first arrive, we're going to go over how both you and I explain where an animal is located. We do this so that if either of us is unable to spot game that the other sees, we can pick it up right away. For example, when you look across this canyon, you're going to pick out a certain tree or rock formation, and then give directions from that. Usually you want to pick out something that stands out from the rest over there, and you just sometimes you don't have anything good, so you've got to kind of make do with what you got. It's obviously this can be difficult sometimes, so you'll want to practice and drill in a few different ways.
Would you like to wait and see if the bigger one comes out, or do you want to just look at these? I'd like to just take a look at these. Okay, if you just scoot your rear down to that log, you stay low so you don't break this. If you scoot your rear down to that log, I'll move in behind you. There, if you lean my way, you see there's one full green pine. One full green pine down the right.
Yeah.
Just to the left of it, there's a pretty snaggly dead tree.
Okay.
There's two right at the base of that, and then there's one down to the right. You can see if the big one comes out, or if you want to look at these and see what you think of these ones.
It's working now.
It is. Okay, the top ones are at 250. Now these ones are about right around 250, and there's a whole bunch of deer right here, but else I see it, they're bedded, and I see does. Do you want to,
One of the first things you want to practice is scanning with your binoculars. We sometimes spend hours and hours behind glass. It's important that you're able to keep your cool and not get frustrated if you don't see something right away that I might see or some other guide that you have might see. If my explanations aren't working and we're unable to relay an easy enough landmark, you'll want to look at the general direction of my glasses and then start a grid pattern. You can practice this with your family or a hunting buddy or whatever. You can take it right out to a park or even do it in your backyard. You just have one person pick out a difficult object to see, like a weird shaped bush or rock or better yet a bird or something along those lines, and have them describe where you can find it with minimal use of the naked eye. The more you look through your binoculars, the better you're going to get with it. We're covering tons and tons of country, and Most of the time, we're looking out there far enough that you're not going to be able to see game with your naked eye, and that's how we start out our hunt for the day. It's very difficult for you to look everywhere at once, so if you can glass proficiently, you're going to up your odds a ton. For instance, for you tree stand hunters out there that are only able to see 100 yards or less from your stand, it would be similar to looking for a silent squirrel that are sitting still or barely moving, and then, they're at distances of 30 to 100 yards, and then you have to relay that information to your buddy. So you want to use and practice with your binoculars and get as familiar with them as you can. Next thing you should practice is scanning with your rifle scope. Sometimes there's going to be situations where the game's already in range, but there's either multiple animals surrounding your target or your target's in heavy cover. These can be times when being able to scan with your rifle scope is absolutely necessary to getting a shot. For instance, if an animal is in heavy cover and is moving in and out of the brush and not standing in openings long enough for you to switch from your binoculars to your rifle and still get a shot. So you want to practice finding things in your scope and scanning just like you would with your binoculars. The last things I'm going to go over are very easy for you to practice, but are vital skills that many people don't even think about. You can always improve in this area no matter how great you are. So you want to make sure your rifle is unloaded and safe. Pick an object with your eyes, the smaller the better, and immediately pick up your rifle and find the object in your scope. You do this with your binoculars as well. The goal is to have your target in the crosshairs or the center of your view without having to move your scope of binoculars after you bring it to your eye. After you feel comfortable with this, practice going straight from your binoculars to your rifle scope. That can get kind of tougher, and I see a lot of people have problems with that, so you want to practice that a lot. So in closing, what I want to say is optics are a huge advantage where we hunt. There have been many times where hunters feel like they have to see something with their naked eye before they can get their rifle ready, and it's cost them a lot of times. Your regular vision is very important, but it's also a really good idea to be able to use your optics to their full potential. So practice. I mean, it's when you go on a wilderness hunt, I mean, on average, we do a little better than that, but on average, it's going to be about a 50-50 chance, and so everything you do to up your odds is going to be a huge advantage to you, give you a little bit of advantage over the next guy. So again, practice with those optics.